Are you interested in the current state of the health industry? Want to know more about nutrition, natural medicine, holistic healthcare, and more? You're in the right place. Welcome to NEW-TRITION Prescription with your host, integrative health and nutrition coach Angela Atkins. She dishes the dirt on a bunch of health topics with a social consciousness flair. Here's Angela.
Welcome to NEW-TRITION Prescription. This is Angela Atkins of Your Health Unbound, and we're here again with a new podcast with an upcoming star, Heather Russell. Let me tell you a little bit about Heather. She's a wellness coach, a life coach, and an energy healer who is shaking up the industry with her unique approach to empowering women leaders, creators, and visionaries. After working in corporate for over 20 years and working as a wellness coach on the side, she knows what it's like to experience the hustle and grind culture, which is a pathway to burnout, exhaustion, and disease. Her clients rave about her ability to help them tap into their inner power and connect with their bodies, leading to not only improved personal relationships, but also business success and overall health. I want to welcome you, Heather.
Thank you so much, Angela. I'm excited to be here on your show.
Well, we recently met and I found your topics so interesting, and there were so many things I wanted to talk about. You have this four-phase approach to helping your clients. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Sure. It's really this incredible journey that we get to go through. And our first two phases the first phase is about uncovering, it's called a healing shift. And it's about uncovering and healing any past traumas, your past lineage, trauma that comes along. I call it your past roots. So it really deals with the first and a little bit of the second chakra. I work a lot with the chakras. And so it really helps to uncover where you feel your lack of confidence. Maybe you don't feel secure. Maybe you're afraid of not fitting in. So we uncover those things that are really like the baseline, the baseline of where you come from and how you show up in this world. And it shows up in our personality and our money. And whether or not we decide that we're going to venture outside of, the tribe's knowledge or their paradigm. So we get to uncover that. I mean, I know that myself, I have a completely different paradigm than, my family. And I'm sure there are many others and I know that there are many others that have that as well. And then phase two, we go into something I have titled like belief and a possibility shift. And this is where you get to outline and create and design this radically new future. So we've identified the things that are holding you back, that you feel comfortable. Maybe you have like a set point in your money and your relationship. And now we could get to dream. We get to think about that possibility. And we do that in this phase two that gets mapped out for you. And then in phase three, which I call the empowerment shift, what we do is like we're healing forward. So we're moving forward on that vision that we had for ourselves. We get to lean into that with confidence, coming from an empowered place. I really put a lot of emphasis about, trusting your body and coming back to your body. I, working in corporate, as you had mentioned in my intro, I was so detached from my body. I was like a workhorse. I really was committed to getting the promotion. It didn't matter what vertical it was in. And my body was breaking down, but I really wasn't listening. So I always try to take my clients to a journey where, it's different as we move into this confidence and empowerment because we listen to your body. You get to, have this path that is carved out specifically for you. You get to fill it with things like trust. That was a biggie for me. And I see that a lot in my clients. You get to, fill that with passion and love and just like this juiciness that we all kind of want for our lives. Because who wants to go through life, with something that is stagnant and not fun? Not me. And the fourth and final phase is about taking that inspired action and up leveling. So this is where you get this super boost to your motivation. And as you baby step your way from phases 3 and 4, from the empowerment into the action up leveling, right? You get these quick wins. You get to celebrate all of this progress that you're making essentially. And when you get to celebrate yourself and you make progress on your goals and you see that shift actually becoming a reality, you are going to be more excited about taking more action to really meet that life you have created by design. And that is my 4-step process.
It sounds like just hearing you talk about your past life that you yourself went through these phases and now you're using them for your clients. Can you give us a little bit of your background of how that came about, how you got to the realization that these 4 steps were necessary to be a more vibrant person?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I have to say that I don't know. My lessons in life has come up constantly is about discernment. And I really haven't made the best choices. And like I was saying about going back to my body and listening to her intuition, and instead I was completely ignoring her. But there has been several times in my career where I was super focused on, and I will say that to back up, when I was younger, my dad was a bodybuilder and he had bodybuilding friends. So I knew all about health and nutrition from that perspective. And I was a label reader where, I was looking to see, remember Snackwell's,
Oh, geez, yeah.
that cardboard? So
Yeah.
I was looking to see how much fat content was in each of those foods versus a ratio of protein. So, I was always very interested in health and wellness. And I started to watch my dad and his bodybuilder friends, and they all started breaking down, which really kind of got me into thinking like, here they are having these high protein diets and no fat, like really kind of what's going on. So that really started my journey. And I only preface this because when when I was in corporate full time, I knew better. And what was I doing? I was drinking. I needed to have a venti Starbucks, extra peppermint, extra chocolate, hot, mocha twice a day. I would go and buy myself a croissant at lunch. And again, I knew all about nutrition. I knew this was not good for me, but it handled my stress levels. If I was able to actually leave and go have lunch, it was pizza. And then I would say, oh, well, I'm also having a salad. So at least I'm getting greens. But because I was so stressed out, I was like, sour apple martini, maybe I'll have two. And then I couldn't sleep at night. So I would have, because I was really amped up on coffee. So I would have, like another cocktail. And at that point, because I was working so much and at that time, I was in an investment bank, and I was so committed to making director and then executive director. I thought I'm going to do whatever it takes to push myself. I was going to push myself to get to that promotion, and I worked insane hours. Meanwhile, my marriage was falling apart, like just completely falling apart. I didn't have any social life, and if it was a social life that I had, it was a drinking culture, and that's what I did. So I was absolutely exhausted. And then one of my friends got into an accident and he died. And that was really a catalyst of change for me. And I thought, wow, I mean, like life is so short. And he was my age. We were at 30, and just like him dying had such an impact on my life. And so I had to say, is really what I'm doing and driving myself at this pace, is this really what I want? And of course not. So I said, what do I love to do? As a kid, I loved playing out in the garden, and I did surgery on bugs by using thorns, and then would crush up rose petals thinking that I was going to heal them. So, I was like, you know what, nutrition and herbs, really, I just have always had this major passion for it. So I went back to school. I did a year-long herbal apprenticeship. I got a master's in nutrition. And then I was like, okay, that's it. I'm leaving. And I started my wellness practice. I was fully booked. And because I was doing something I love, but I was still disassociated with my body. I didn't believe in myself. So even though I was fully booked, I still didn't believe in myself. And then I go, I don't, I'm afraid to be seen. I'm afraid to do this. And guess what? My clients, they would get at the end of their year-long program. And then I didn't have anybody, I wasn't out marketing myself. I wasn't like allowing myself to go out and save other people's lives. And so I got scared because I was too afraid. I was outside of my body that I had to go back to corporate. And I repeated not as toxic of a pattern, but I repeated a pattern, and it manifested as I didn't have a raise or a cost of living adjustment while working this job, crazy hours, flying all over the States, missing, activities, events. One of my favorite things to do is go and see live music. I miss so many shows with my friends or, whomever. And I didn't get a raise or a cost of living adjustment. And I did not have the courage to ask for it. So then I go, okay, now what am I going to do? Right. I have got to, I learned this lesson, and then I go, I have to go and study on this because this is something that needs healing for me. So it was a lot of first and second chakra work that I did. I went and did shamanic facilitator training, and then was doing that in other people. And then we were, doing sessions, and we just were getting this feedback, and it was like, it's my self-esteem center, my womb. Like, it's just, I needed a lot of womb healing, right? Because that's your seat of your power. That's the seat of your confidence. And mine was not glowing. It was not vibrant. So I have facilitated that process. And then finally, I was like, okay, I've gotten over, I think, all of my demons. And, now it's really, I still had my part-time wellness because I didn't want to give that up like throughout this experience and the many jobs I had. But now I get to do that full time. I really took the time to heal myself, because I want to show up authentically for my clients. And I want to have gone through that experience so that I can give them that firsthand experience about what it's like. I get them. And this is what it takes to move through that.
I think you, like many coaches, we all have to go through those experiences. We are fallible, and we have life crises, whether they're corporate, health, financial, whatever they are, that trigger that realization that we need healing too. And many coaches won't admit that they too have parts that still need to be fixed. And I think it's really important for clients to realize that we can step outside of ourselves and we can actually see what's going on because we recognize it. We have that vision, and, we may have the background and training depending on what field it is, whether it's health, nutrition, bodybuilding, whatever it is, that we can look at someone objectively and offer really good advice, but it still doesn't mean that we've taken our own advice. And so I think there are many of us that learn that we have to keep repeating this process. It's not a one and done. There are so many things that come up in life. I mean, that challenge you, that break you, really. And the fact that you had to go back to corporate, you must have felt broken at that point, that something is wrong and you can't figure it out. And yet I think it's another learning opportunity. And I think that's really important. I think people who come to us as clients have to realize it's not a one and done. You
Right.
really have to keep working the process. You really have to keep tapping into whatever skill sets that you needed to learn or to retrain your brain or retrain your body, and then come to the other side of it saying, okay, now I've got this. Let me hold on to it and move past it. And I think we all do it, but I think coaches are willing to bare their souls a little bit more. And I think that's the difference. It's like when I get in a situation with a client and I'm like, yep, I did that too. Sometimes the client's surprised, but we are human, and we need that constant reassurance for ourselves. We need the skill set to be practiced on a regular basis. So I applaud you for your honesty and for the clarity that you've given yourself. And hopefully that's what people will see who come to you, that you've made those changes and you're willing to keep doing it. I think that's an excellent way of looking at life, that
Yeah.
even though it didn't work once, you can still do it and you can still come back from it and live that better life.
100%. I mean, life is continuing education. You just don't graduate university, get your master's or whatever. I mean, like you get to get your doctorate in the school of, hard knocks sometimes. And unfortunately, that was the route that I chose to take. And, now I'm like, how can I choose the path of ease and trust and surrender? And that's really what I have been following for the past several years. And like life really has improved. I mean, I remember, my life noticeably changed in many aspects when I turned 40. So I was single, 39, I'm single. My friend puts me on the dating apps. I was so embarrassed, so freaking embarrassed. And there were so many men, right? Like, oh, and then I remember I turned 40 still, I mean, I'm still on this app. And then one guy goes, hey, was it your birthday? Turn 40. And it was like almost like overnight that, like how strange, like some men disappeared, right? You hit this like wall and it's 40. And, like I used to like laugh at some of my friends who were older, and my friends were always like, where are the good men go? Where are the good men? And I go, this is ridiculous. There's no way. And I thought that myself, and I just couldn't help but, like start laughing about it, because your life does change, at 40. Mine really changed about like, at 45, but, at 40, you just start to notice these crazy changes that, like happen in your own body and then in your environment and the environment around you.
Yeah, it's funny. I think people place too much emphasis on numbers. I don't particularly care what the number says that I am. It has to do with how I feel, and maybe place a lot more emphasis on either physicality, how someone looks, or what they have, the things that they've accomplished, rather than looking at the person, looking inside and finding out what makes their light shine. That's really, I think, what's very important. And I really think the focus of life, and we said it before, the focus of life is to live it vibrantly. And I think that's something you have taken to another level. I think it's something that you have honed in on, that people need to realize there's more beyond the day-to-day, matrix kind of living where go to work, have to do certain things, achieve certain levels of, either seniority or something in a business structure, rather than achieving what your heart sings about. And I think that's really the difference. Tell me a little bit more about how you focused on living a vibrant life.
Well, I knew I did not want to be living that dull, miserable life that I was in corporate. I knew I didn't want to have an unfulfilling relationship. I had been in perimenopause since my late 20s,
Mm.
which was an incredible experience to be going through. Um, and I just said, there's no way I'm going to go through the rest of my life waking up, and feeling aches and pains. I don't want to have these crazy hot flashes, all of these, symptoms that are, that would worsen over time. I want to have a career that, like I am so excited and I get to make a difference. And so that was like really a driving, that was my motivation. It's like, I have been through it and I didn't want to be through it. And it's kind of like this path that I went into because it was safe. This is like a totally side story, but, my first year of college, I wanted to be an opera singer. I know.
Interesting.
Yes. And I said, even then I was like, wow, I mean, to be facing rejection more than acceptance or getting that role, no way. And then that's when I slid into corporate. And then really you just get comfortable inside of it. You think you have this well-paying job and, it's really amazing because you get to buy things. And, we didn't have money when I was growing up. My family, my eldest of five, and, we were very frugal, let's say, so, like being able to buy new things and not on the sale, like was really enticing, for me, because, it put me out of like, oh my God, we're got pennies, like paying pennies, sort of thing. So you have like this stuff but when you really break it down, like how much does it really cost you to buy a monthly pass on the train, right? I lived in Connecticut at the time and was taking the train to and from work, or me and my best friend would drive, or gas. And how much time are you actually spending that you're not actually spending on something you love? And what's the amount of time that you are going out and eating as opposed to, like having something that is more nourishing at home? And how many times are you really going out to the pub and like having cocktails? And then, do I really want to stay in an unsatisfying relationship? Why am I attracting? They were man children, like I was attracting the opposite of what I wanted because I was so like in this zone of, nope, I don't want that. Nope, I don't want that. And for the longest time, I thought my law of attraction, like meter was totally off. Like it was broken. Like it was like manifesting the things that I didn't want as opposed to what I wanted. And so that was another thing that I learned. But I just go, there's no way I'm in my early, at the time I was in my early 40s that I'm just going to go through and it's going to be all downhill. No, I chose not to have children. I am not ready to be a sage or in the crone phase. Like I get to embody something that is completely different. I get to make powerful choices for myself in a career, a relationship, the way that I want to look and feel inside of my body. And that's what I have chosen for myself. And that's what I teach my clients also. It's possible.
Yeah, it seems like once you make the decision that you're the one in charge of your life, more things are possible. And I feel like that's true for many people. I mean, your clients must see it also, that once they reach that point of that I'm in control, not all these other forces outside of me. And that, again, I speak a lot about sovereignty. We need to be sovereign beings. What we do with our bodies, what we do with our time, what we do with our money, it's our decision. It's not
Right.
somebody else's decision. And so all these external influences, I think we need to calm the voices, to stop listening to everything outside of us and start going inside and listening to what really we want, what our hearts are telling us, what we really feel deep down in our souls or our true, authentic selves. And so I think because of that, I think that's why I think we hit it off. I think we recognize that we're authentic to each other. We're not putting on some kind of show. We
Exactly.
really understand that we've had to go through those times, had to go through those crappy periods of our lives, whether it was corporate or bad relationships or whatever it was, to get to the other side, that now we know we're in charge. And the unfortunate part is that we spend too much of our lives not knowing it. And
I
so I think
know.
our goals, and you correct me, but I think our goals is to hit people younger so that we can empower them to do that and not live their, 20s, 30s, 40s and on up without being their own bosses, without being their own sovereign beings. And so for that, one of the things that I was really attracted about, learning about you was the series you developed about the vibrant woman. Can you tell us how you thought about and developed that series?
I just thought about my nieces and how I want them to grow up and be feeling. They're all in their 20s now, and I go, oh my God, they're in their 20s. But I want them to see that they don't have to stay, in the role, like I was talking about earlier in my first phase about healing your roots. We wear so many masks throughout our life, right? So, one of my nieces, Brianna, is going to get called out, so Brianna gets to be Brianna. Brianna doesn't get to be, Heather's niece or Aaron's daughter or, she's the one that works in the coffee shop. She's the nice daughter. And so like you had said, Angela, which is so important, we want to teach, these young women and, like how to really be sovereign beings, how to make those decisions, because the mind is so powerful, right? Anna Garrett, who was on my Exhaustion Epidemic Summit, and I forgot the name of her book, but she comments about how like your mind, so if you're thinking that you are going to go through, you're not going to be able to get pregnant, you're going to go through perimenopause very early, menopause is going to be terrible, you are literally attracting all of those things, right? So, wellness comes from the inside outward. And, I was thinking about all of those things, but I really wanted to focus on women who are over 40 that are like, you want to know what? I'm not this person's daughter. I'm not this person's ex-wife. I'm not these kids' mother. I get to be myself. I am myself. Don't want to be labeled. And then I get to make empowered choices for myself about where I want my life's direction to be going. I mean, because we all want that. We don't want to be living a life. Who wants to live a life by default? I mean, I definitely don't. My clients don't. I've been encouraging the women in my family not to. So I just had this idea for this series about, if you are stuck in a job that you hate, that you don't like, and it's not fulfilling, there is a pathway out of that. There's so many women struggling with their hormones and perimenopause and menopause. There is a way out of that. You don't have to suffer. We are not supposed to be suffering. You are here, like you mentioned, as a sovereign being, and your natural state is joy and love. And here is the way that we can accomplish that.
I love hearing that. So many people think as you get older, you're naturally going to get sick and you're naturally going to have bad health. That's just not true. You become what you think you're going to become. I mean, if you really think that you're going to get sick, you can make yourself ill. There's no two ways about it. It's not you go and get something. You live a lifestyle, or you live a mental mindset that brings on whatever illness or attracts whatever badness to you. And it's so important. I think you had even said it, you shouldn't be labeling yourself. You label yourself as someone's wife or daughter or mother or whatever, or a worker of somebody. Well, even labeling yourself as an age, to me, those numbers just mean that that's how many, years have passed. Who cares? It's how you feel and how you manifest that feeling in your life. So I think it's really important to look at that and to look at that whole spectrum. And it's not just the health, and it's not just the nutrition or whatever. And I know you have many experts on that have a variety of topics. What other issues are you addressing?
Well, we do have hormones. We have money, right? That's another thing that we women, I think, have struggled with, is really accumulating our own wealth, because we have money stories that it's like women aren't good with money, and a man is. I mean, we're still earning less than men, in our jobs. We have problems, like I did, speaking up and having the courage and seeing my own value, about like, I see my value and I'm asking for that raise. And if he doesn't give me that, F off, And, I should have been like that, but we just have this story where we are diminishing ourselves. And I think that finances is one, and then sexuality is the other.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we, as women, stop buying into the cliches, or whatever you want to call them, the old paradigms that women are not good at, or women aren't as good as men in certain things, because it really has no bearing. Everybody can do what they're meant to do
Mm-hmm.
if they truly open themselves up to it. I know for me, I've gone through multiple careers. I started out a long time ago in the theater and had, one life that was totally different than the life I have now, and I had children. I had that whole, bad relationship thing, moved on, had another, really, all these things. You just keep evolving. It doesn't mean that you're stuck in one thing. you can come away from something that's not working for you to find what is going to work for you. And so I think it's really important for people to look at all those different aspects of life and get different viewpoints. I mean, your experts on your summit are going to provide maybe new information people have never heard of before, or at least bring to the forefront something that people may have thought about but didn't think they could do. And so it's really important, I think, that we start approaching life from a different perspective. It's not,
Mhm.
oh, we do things in this chronological order, or we're expected to do something. Throw it all out the window. What is it you want? What makes your soul sing? And find somebody who can help you get there if you don't have the tools yourself. And so I think that's why having all these experts offering their best opinions and their knowledge and their experience is really an important thing for people to start listening to. It's you listen to it. If it resonates with you, move forward with it. And if it doesn't, let it go and find something else. But it's always good to have all different opinions, all different perspectives, because then you can use your own discernment that what really works for you. And I think that's really important, that too many people just accept what is given to them. Like, this is your life and this
Yes.
is what you've got to do. Nope, I reject that. I
I
reject that.
know. I know,
And I
right?
think
And
more
then
women need to do that.
exactly. And then there's like the myth of perfectionism, right? So there is a place in Connecticut called Darien, and they
I've
filmed
been there, as a matter of fact.
the
Isn't that
Stepford
funny?
Wives. Right. And so everything has to be perfect. And we have to have these two little perfect kids. And even though your husband is cheating, we have this perfect little vision and this perfect life in Darien, sort of thing. And it's like, perfect is boring. And life is not perfect. It's full of all of these beautiful imperfections that are lessons, that we get to learn, that we get to grow from. And then we get to decide whether or not it's acceptable or not. Is this acceptable? I don't want to live an acceptable life. I want to live an amazing, vibrant life.
Exactly. That is
But like you were
beautiful.
saying about, so like you were mentioning about, like maybe you've heard this information before, maybe this information doesn't resonate with you. This is all true, right? Take what you want and what resonates with you. But as human and also as human beings, we learn by repetition. So I can hear the exact same thing. Like I love audiobooks and I love physical books, and I will read physical books and listen to my audiobooks several times because there are gems that you just pick up each time. And I think that that is also the beauty of hearing many different experts. Like maybe the way that this person says something, and it's the exact same topic, it just resonates better. Or maybe you go, oh yeah, I didn't pick that up the first time. Yeah, you want to know what? I'm going to try that. And this is what really the summit, I invite you to come to the summit with a curious mind. Like, although this information has been regurgitated thousands of times, there's no unique idea or concept in the universe. So just come with an open mind and an open heart. And also come with this idea that I am going to be open to help. I'm going to be open to having an incredible, vibrant life. I'm going to define that myself. I get to make all those empowered decisions myself. And this can be a vehicle in which to do so.
That's beautifully said. So give us the details about the Vibrant Woman Summit.
Yes, thank you. So it is a free 7-day series, and we start on January 30th. And the series will run until February 5th. And we're going to be doing, I think we're going to be doing a replay Monday, Tuesday, so the 6th and 7th. So if you're not able to join live, well, we're not doing it live, but they're pre-recorded interviews that are released every day, and there'll be 3 a day for the 7-day series. But I really just invite you to come to the summit, listen, and really absorb the information. Don't take notes, but like really listen. They're like really easily digestible, 30-minute. Dr. Rosensweet, I think his is a little longer. He's talking about natural hormone replenishment, which I liked instead of replacement. So you're replenishing your hormones. And, we're just really, it's a summit that really, it should be natural and beautiful unfolding of a magical life after 40. But it's a free 7-day summit, and I'm excited for your viewers to, to learn more and join.
Yeah, I am too. I thank you for inviting me also on the summit. That was a pleasure for me to be able to talk about people getting into the zone, which is my
Oh,
topic. But
fabulous.
I would just let everybody know that the link will be in the description of the podcast, so you can sign up for free, like Heather said. And I hope everybody listening will join, because it really is going to have a lot of amazing information. And like you said, even if you've heard it before, maybe someone else will inspire you because they will say it in a way that reaches you. Because sometimes we hear it, but it doesn't really touch our hearts, or it doesn't really resonate to who we are at the time we're listening. And then someone else will say it in a way that just is the perfect words at the perfect time. Any last words, Heather?
My last word really is don't wait until your life is at like a critical point. So don't wait until your hormones are you're just on this crazy hormonal roller coaster, or don't wait to like leave a relationship that is not nourishing or is abusive, and you want something more and you need something more fulfilling. If it's abusive, you need something more fulfilling. But don't wait. There are so many options that are available for you to be living an incredible life right now. Start looking into that. Start making those steps. Like get your mind ready that there is something so much greater out there for you. Don't stay miserable. This is not life.
Well, thank you, Heather. They were great words to end on. And I want to thank everybody listening. I hope you'll all join up, sign for the free registration to the Vibrant Woman. As I said, look for the link in the description. And again, join me on the next Nutrition Prescription podcast. And until then, be well.
When I was extremely sick with multiple autoimmune diseases years ago, I experienced real healing once I cleared my home, food, and personal products of toxic substances. What conventional medicine could not heal through pharmaceuticals, the natural medicinal properties of essential oils became my healing path. Once I found doTERRA essential oils and products, it was simple for me to replace all the toxic substances in my home, my medicine cabinet, and in my life in general. This was the beginning of my journey to wellness. I invite you to share in this journey with me. Go to mydoterra.com/your health unbound to start your own journey to natural wellness, or click on the link in the description.